Look, you weren't born to stay the same. You weren't created to stay stuck, scared, or small. You are not here to just survive. You're here to grow, to evolve, to rise higher every single day, even when it's tough. Especially when it's tough. Because greatness doesn't show up in comfort zones. It shows up in pressure. It shows up when you refuse to back down, when you decide to develop yourself constantly. You see, you don't need permission to improve. You don't need applause to start. You need one thing: decision, not someday, now. Read more, learn more, fall, fail, get up, and never stop becoming who you were meant to be. This is not about ego. This is about purpose. This is about refusing to live beneath your calling. You think it's too late, too early, too hard, too slow. Let me tell you something. The real tragedy is not failing. It's staying the same. You can't grow and stay safe at the same time. You gotta risk comfort to reach character. You gotta risk pride to gain power. You gotta show up even when no one's watching. The difference between potential and greatness. Effort, daily, deliberate, relentless. You don't climb mountains by chance. You climb them by choice. So I ask you, what are you doing today that stretches you, that challenges you, that forces you to level up? Because the world doesn't need more copies. It needs your original. It needs your highest, strongest, most refined self. Don't wait until you feel ready. Don't wait until life slows down. Don't wait for motivation. Train your mind, sharpen your skills, strengthen your soul every single day. Become so rooted in growth that failure only feeds you. Become so driven by purpose that distraction can't touch you. This life, it won't hand you everything you want, but if you commit to growth, it will reveal who you really are. So grow, even when it's slow, even when it hurts, even when no one claps. Develop yourself constantly, because nothing else will matter. If you don't, growth is your responsibility, not anyone else's. No one owes you transformation. No one is coming to push you, to wake you up, to hand you the life you dream about. It starts with you, and it stays with you. You can't outsource your evolution. You can't blame the past, the pain, or the people who couldn't see your worth. They don't get to decide who you become. Only you do. You have to choose to grow, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's slow, even when it feels like nothing is changing, because every step forward, no matter how small, is a win. Every moment you choose discipline over distraction. Every time you rise after failing. Every time you learn instead of complain. That's growth, and that's yours. See, growth isn't handed to you, it's earned through effort, through intention, through the silent decisions you make when no one's watching. You can't wait for life to get easier. You can't wait for someone to show up and fix it for you, because they won't. This is your journey, your pace, your fire. Yes, support helps. Yes, mentors guide. But if you don't show up for your own life, no one can live it for you. Growth is personal. It's private before it's public. It's messy before it's beautiful. It's painful before it's powerful, but it's yours. And that means it's worth fighting for. You weren't born to stay the same. You were born with the capacity to rise, to adapt, to overcome, to elevate. But potential without action is nothing. Desire without discipline is empty. So decide to take the hard route. Decide to face the mirror. Decide to build the habits, kill the excuses, and chase the version of you that scares your comfort. This is the truth. If you don't own your growth, someone else will own your future. If you don't choose your direction, the world will choose it for you. And that choice may not lead to your greatness. So don't wait for approval. Don't wait for a sign. You are the signal. You are the shift. You are the one who decides whether today is another excuse or a new beginning. True development happens outside your comfort zone. That's where the real transformation begins, not in the routine, not in the familiar, not in the places where you feel safe and unchallenged. Growth doesn't knock on your door when you're relaxed. It shows up when you're stretched, when you're unsure, when you're afraid but you move anyway. See, comfort is seductive. It tells you to stay where it's easy. It whispers that you're doing enough, but deep down you know that voice is lying. Comfort wants to keep you small, safe, contained, but greatness demands risk. It demands effort, discomfort, and sometimes even pain. That's the price of progress. When you step into new territory, when you take the leap, even though your hands are shaking, that's when you grow. Because it's in the resistance where strength is built. It's in the struggle that character is revealed. It's in the unknown where your true self is waiting. You don't build resilience by playing it safe. You build it by showing up when everything in you says to run. You build it by pushing one more rep, speaking when it's uncomfortable, trying again after failure. That's real development. Not just learning asterisk becoming. Asterisk not just knowing more asterisk doing more. Asterisk you see, the comfort zone is a cage dressed as a sanctuary. It feels good, but it costs you more than you think. It keeps you from discovering what you're truly made of. It blinds you to your potential. You'll never reach your peak living on autopilot. You were not made for stagnation. You were made for elevation. And elevation requires tension. It requires friction. The mountain won't move for you, you have to climb it, even when your legs burn, even when the air gets thin, even when you're alone at the top, because once you break through that barrier, you'll look back and realize the fear, the failure, the pressure, it didn't break you. It asterisk built asterisk you, and now you're not the same. You've evolved, because you had the courage to leave what was comfortable and step into what was possible. You don't need perfect conditions to start evolving. You don't need the stars to align. You don't need the timing to be right. You just need to begin right here, right now, because waiting for perfect is the perfect excuse to do nothing. Life doesn't slow down for your plans. It doesn't pause until you feel ready, and if you keep waiting for the ideal moment, you'll wait your whole life. Growth doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for movement. One step, one decision, one honest moment with yourself where you say, I'm tired of staying the same. That's where it starts, in the chaos, in the mess, in the middle of a schedule that's too full, a heart that's unsure, and a world that keeps changing. You don't need all the answers. You don't need to have it figured out. You just need to want more for yourself, more discipline, more courage, more self-respect. Because evolution isn't about changing everything at once. It's about showing up anyway, despite the noise, despite the fear. Despite the pressure, you become more by doing what most won't, by rising when it's easier to sleep, by choosing growth when comfort feels good, by speaking truth when silence feels safer. You weren't designed to stay in place. And waiting for the perfect conditions, that's just fear in disguise. Perfection is a myth. Progress is the goal, and progress lives in the small moments, the quiet decisions, the times you choose effort over excuses. That's how you evolve, not with the perfect plan, not with a flawless routine, but with the will to move forward in the middle of the storm. Let the conditions be messy, let the timing be off, let the world keep spinning. But don't let that stop you from rising, because the truth is you can start broken. You can start uncertain. You can start tired, afraid, overwhelmed. But you must start. You must take responsibility for who you are and who you're becoming. The moment is now, not tomorrow, not next month, not when everything looks better. Start here, start real, start raw, and watch who you become when you stop waiting for perfect and start showing up with purpose. Decision is more powerful than motivation. Motivation is a spark. It feels good. It moves you for a moment, but it fades. It depends on mood, on energy, on inspiration. It shows up when life feels exciting. But what about the days when it doesn't? What about the mornings when your body is tired, your mind is heavy, and your heart feels uncertain? Motivation won't carry you then. That's where decision steps in. Decision doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't wait for the perfect vibe. It doesn't need hype or noise or comfort. Decision is commitment. It's a line you draw in the sand, a quiet promise to yourself that says no matter what, I show up. Motivation is emotion. Decision is direction. And when you decide, you create structure. You create discipline. You create progress even when there's no fire, because progress isn't made in the moments when you feel good. It's made in the moments when you don't, but you act anyway. Decision gives you the power to move forward when excuses start talking. It silences the voice that says later. It cuts through the noise that tells you to stop. Because when you decide, you don't negotiate. You don't debate with weakness. You don't wait for the mood to be right. You move, you execute, you lead yourself. That's what makes decision more powerful than motivation. It doesn't waver. It doesn't shake. It holds firm when everything else wants to pull you back. Think about the people who get results in business, in health, in life. They're not always motivated, but they are always decided. They've chosen who they want to be. They've chosen what they're willing to do, and they repeat that choice day after day. That's what builds consistency. That's what builds resilience. That's what builds the life you say you want. Because waiting on motivation, that's gambling with your future, but choosing intentionally, relentlessly, that's how you take control. You don't need another pep talk. You don't need more hype. You need to decide. Right now, who are you becoming? What are you willing to endure to get there? And are you ready to stop letting emotions lead and start letting commitment lead? Because once you decide, everything changes. Not because the world shifts, but because you do. Daily habits shape your destiny. Not the big, loud moments, not the highlight reels, but the quiet, consistent choices you make every single day. Those tiny actions. They're building your future whether you realize it or not. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, every time you choose effort over ease, every time you choose growth over excuses, you're shaping the person you become. Because your destiny isn't something you stumble into. It's something you build, brick by brick, step by step, and the bricks are your habits. The things you do when no one's watching. The way you speak to yourself when you're tired. The way you show up when it would be easier to quit. That's what defines your path. See, greatness is not created in a day, but it is created daily, in the repetition, in the discipline, in the choice to keep going. Even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when the results haven't shown up yet, because they will, if your habits are aligned, if your actions match your vision. You can dream all day long. You can plan, visualize, journal, and talk about it. But if your daily habits don't support that dream, it stays just that, a dream. Reality is built in routine. Destiny is found in discipline. Your life is not shaped by what you do once. It's shaped by what you do consistently. So ask yourself, what are your habits saying about your future? Are they moving you toward your goals or further away from them? Are they built on purpose or out of autopilot? Because every habit is a vote for who you become. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and your systems are your habits, the food you eat, the words you speak, the thoughts you repeat, the time you wake, the work you put in. It all matters, because the little things, they aren't little. They're everything. They compound, they accumulate, they shape character, they define identity, and over time they become destiny. So don't underestimate the power of today. Don't dismiss the impact of small choices, that one workout, that one chapter, that one decision to push through instead of give up. It all adds up. You want a powerful life, build powerful habits, and do it daily. Failures are part of progress. Use them. Don't hide from them. Don't run from them. Don't pretend they didn't happen. Because failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of it. It's woven into the journey. It's how you learn, how you adjust, how you grow. Nobody becomes great without falling first. Nobody reaches their potential without breaking something along the way. And that's okay, because every failure carries a message. A lesson, a turning point, but you have to listen. You have to be willing to face it, to ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why is this happening to me? Failure isn't there to defeat you. It's there to reveal you. To expose what needs work, to humble your ego, to sharpen your focus, to make you hungrier. Without it, there's no edge, no refinement, no true breakthrough. See, anyone can feel strong when everything is going right. But it's in the fall where you find out who you really are. It's in the setback where your grit is tested. And your grit, that's what carries you forward. So stop fearing failure. Start using it. Use it to fuel your next move. Use it to sharpen your mindset. Use it to build resilience most people don't have. Because the truth is, failure is not final unless you quit. It only becomes defeat when you stop trying. But if you rise even once more, you're still in the game. Still becoming, still building, and with every fall you gain something: perspective, wisdom, clarity, experience. You earn your scars, you earn your lessons, and those lessons, they're what turn effort into excellence. You don't grow by always getting it right. You grow by staying in it when it goes wrong. That's progress, messy, uncomfortable, real. Don't chase perfection, chase improvement, and improvement requires failing forward, over and over, until the thing that once broke you now builds you, until the pain becomes fuel, until the doubt becomes fire. So when failure comes and it will, don't flinch, welcome it, thank it, use it, because on the other side of failure is everything you've been working for. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. It feels good, it feels safe, but it keeps you small, it keeps you still. Comfort whispers you've done enough, but greatness answers you've barely started. Because nothing extraordinary is built from the comfort zone. Nothing legendary is born from ease. The truth is, every time you choose comfort over challenge, you choose delay over destiny. Comfort says stay in bed. Comfort says skip the hard conversations. Comfort says settle. But comfort doesn't build champions. It builds regret. It builds routine. It builds a life that looks fine on the outside but feels empty on the inside. Greatness demands more. It demands effort. It demands risk. It demands pain, sacrifice, and the willingness to be uncomfortable again and again. You can't grow in comfort. You can't stretch your limits in comfort. You can't rise when you're sitting still, because growth hurts. It challenges your patterns. It exposes your weakness. It demands your discipline. But through that discomfort comes strength. Through that pressure comes clarity. Through that struggle comes evolution. You weren't built to be average. You weren't designed to stay stuck. But comfort will convince you to stay where it's easy, even when your soul is screaming for more. The problem isn't that it's hard. The problem is that we've been taught to avoid hard things. But hard things shape strong people, and strong people shape their destiny. So you have to decide, do you want comfort or do you want change? Because you can't have both. Every break through lives beyond the wall of resistance. Every next level requires a new level of you. The version of you that plays small doesn't get to meet the future that plays big. You have to leave behind what's familiar. You have to push past what's easy. You have to lean into the fire, not run from it, because that fire, that's where the real you is forged, not in the calm. Not in the comfort, but in the challenge. That's where greatness lives. In the reps no one sees. In the moments you want to quit but choose to stay in the fight. In the discomfort you willingly embrace because you know what's on the other side. So don't fear the discomfort, don't run from the pain, don't choose easy, choose growth, choose pressure, choose the path that breaks you open, so you can build something greater. Comfort is temporary. But greatness lasts forever. Purpose must drive your efforts. Without purpose, you're just moving, busy but not building, active but not aligned. You can work hard, you can stay up late, you can grind every single day. But if your heart isn't in it, if your why isn't clear, it will eventually break you. Because effort without direction becomes exhaustion, and movement without meaning becomes burnout. You weren't made to just go through the motions. You were made to move with intention. You were made to act with purpose. That's the difference between people who last and people who crash. Purpose gives pain a reason. It gives sacrifice a reward. It turns obstacles into training grounds instead of exit signs. Purpose makes the struggle worth it. It reminds you why you started when everything in you wants to quit. It's your compass in the chaos, your anchor in the storm, your fuel when motivation runs out, because it will, but purpose doesn't run out. Purpose doesn't fade when the day gets hard. It burns deeper, it gets louder. It says, keep going, keep pushing. This is bigger than comfort. This is bigger than fear. Purpose gives your efforts power. You stop chasing results and start becoming the person you're meant to be. You stop living for approval and start living with alignment. That's when everything changes. That's when the grind becomes growth. That's when the pressure becomes preparation. But you have to get clear. You have to know why you're doing what you're doing, what matters to you, what you stand for, what legacy you want to leave, because without purpose you'll chase everything and catch nothing. You'll try to be everything for everyone and lose yourself in the process. But when purpose drives your efforts, everything tightens. Everything focuses. Every choice, every step, every sacrifice becomes part of something meaningful. It's no longer about impressing, it's about impacting. It's no longer about winning, it's about serving. Purpose shifts the energy behind your work. It brings depth to your discipline. It brings life to your labor. You wake up with direction. You go to sleep with peace. Not because it's easy, but because it's worth it. So whatever you're doing, make sure it's connected to something greater than status, greater than noise, greater than applause. Let purpose be the reason. Let purpose be the driver, and your efforts, they'll not only take you further, they'll take you exactly where you're meant to be. Comparison kills uniqueness. Become your best self. Every time you measure your journey against someone else's, you shrink your light. You doubt your gifts. You silence your own voice, because comparison isn't about inspiration, it's about distraction. It pulls your focus away from growth and puts it on insecurity. It whispers that you're not enough, not fast enough, not smart enough, not successful enough, but the truth is, you were never meant to be them. You were meant to be you fully, unapologetically, powerfully. Your story isn't supposed to look like anyone else's. Your path is custom built. Your timeline is your own. Your growth doesn't need to be validated by how someone else is growing, because they're not living your life. They're not carrying your pain. They don't have your calling. And what makes you different, that's where your power lies. Not in copying, not in chasing someone else's definition of success, but in owning your identity, in digging deep into who you are and becoming more of that. Comparison clouds that process. It creates doubt where there should be trust. It creates jealousy where there should be celebration. You start seeing people as competition instead of connection, and when you do that, you lose time, you lose energy, you lose the parts of you that make you real. There's only one person you need to compete with, and that's the person you were yesterday. Be better than that version, speak kinder than you did before, work harder, love deeper, grow wiser. That's the only measurement that matters, because this world doesn't need another copy. It needs your truth, your strength, your voice. Comparison is a trap. It makes you feel behind when you're exactly where you need to be. It makes you question your journey when your story is still unfolding. But when you let it go, when you stop looking left and right and start looking within, that's when you come alive. That's when your power wakes up. That's when you rise, not by beating anyone, but by becoming more asterisk you. Asterisk. So stop scrolling for your worth. Stop measuring your value against someone else's chapter. You are not late. You are not lacking. You are not less. You are becoming. And the more you lean into your uniqueness, the more unstoppable you become. Consistency in self-improvement is the path to mastery. Not talent alone, not raw potential, not flashes of inspiration that come and go, but the steady, repeated effort to get just a little better every single day. That's what separates the average from the exceptional. Not how fast they move, but how often they show up. Because greatness isn't built in a moment. It's built in a rhythm. It's built in the boring. In the early mornings, in the late nights, in the quiet hours when no one is watching. That's where mastery lives. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about choosing growth even when you're tired, even when you're frustrated, even when progress feels invisible. Because mastery doesn't come from what you do once. It comes from what you repeat over and over and over again. You want to master your craft, master your habits. You want to sharpen your mind, sharpen your discipline. You want to become powerful in who you are. Be consistent in how you improve. It's not about giant leaps. It's about small, deliberate steps stacked day after day. It's about reading that one page when your mind says stop, doing that one extra rep when your body says enough, saying no to distraction when everything wants your attention. Consistency builds confidence. Consistency builds identity. You start to see yourself differently, not as someone trying, but as someone becoming, because every act of consistency is a declaration. It says, I'm serious. It says, I'm committed. It says, I'm in this for the long haul. And that mindset, That's what turns effort into excellence. That's what turns struggle into strength. That's what creates mastery, not by luck, not by chance, but by choice, by showing up when it's hard, by pushing when no one claps, by growing even when no one notices. The world celebrates the outcome, but real masters celebrate the process. They fall in love with the routine, with the grind, with the stretch, because they know consistency compounds. It multiplies, it expands your capacity, it deepens your impact, it refines your edge. So don't chase perfection, don't chase applause, chase better, chase focus, chase the quiet, repeated action that becomes your foundation. Because in the end, it's not what you do occasionally that transforms you, it's what you do relentlessly. That's how you rise, that's how you master anything, and that's how you become everything you were meant to be. So now you know mastery isn't magic. It's not reserved for the gifted, the lucky, or the chosen. It's for the consistent, for the committed, for the ones who decide every single day to get back up, to go again, to improve even just 1%. This is your reminder. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You don't need to know it all. You just need to grow through it all. Keep showing up, keep learning, keep building the habits that shape the life you deserve. Because if you stay consistent in your self-improvement, one day the world will call you a master, but more importantly, you'll no asterisk